We got some bad news for you. Someone somewhere wants you dead. Really, really dead. Perhaps you accidentally crossed some high-powered crime boss. Or maybe you just have the bad luck of looking like someone a high-powered crime boss wants 6 feet under. Either way, there's a considerable price on your life, and if that wasn't bad enough, we've got some more bad news. The legendary mercenary Deadpool is coming to collect it. Hello and welcome to another episode of You Versus. Today we're pitting you up against the sometimes annoying, often wisecracking, deadly mercenary assassin, Deadpool. A lifelong mercenary, also known as Wade Wilson, globe-trotted around the world for years, hiring himself out to the highest bidder as a bodyguard, assassin, or just plain old mercenary. Yet when he discovered that he had terminal cancer, he broke up with his then-girlfriend to spare her the pain of being with a terminally ill man and basically quit on life. That is, at least until he had a second chance offered to him by the Weapon X program. And after being exposed to Wolverine's blood in an attempt to cure his cancer, Wade discovered himself with an astonishing healing factor, supernatural speed, strength, and agility, and unfortunately, a horribly disfigured face. Adopting the persona of Deadpool, Wade went back to his mercenary ways, hiring himself out for both heroes and villains alike. Now he's been hired to come after you. So how are you going to defeat this wisecracking superhuman mercenary? As always, first you have to understand your enemy and what you might be up against. The first and most obvious power Deadpool brings to the fight is his legendary healing factor, which is more powerful than even that of Wolverine, able to regrow missing limbs and even survive catastrophic injuries, such as being stabbed or shot in the head. Deadpool can lose his head, literally, and as long as it's promptly reattached, continue to live. His healing factor, though, is directly linked to his highly aggressive strain of cancer, something that will come into play later as we prepare you to defeat him. Deadpool's healing factor keeps his brain cells in a state of constant flux, which makes telepathic contact with him very difficult to achieve and maintain. This gives him a large degree of protection from telepathic attacks and makes reading his mind all but impossible. Along with his telepathic immunities, Deadpool also has superhuman stamina, afforded to him by his healing factor, and can in effect run at top speed indefinitely, his body neutralizing the acids created by his muscles exerting themselves almost instantly. All Deadpool needs to run forever is a constant intake of food to keep his caloric intake up. Deadpool is also very strong, but not superhumanly strong. His strength is estimated to be that of an Olympic-level weightlifter, despite weighing in at least 100 pounds less than one. While he may not be superhumanly strong, he is superhumanly agile and fast, with extraordinary reflexes that far outstrip those of a regular human. He may not be able to duck out of the way of a high-velocity bullet, but forget about trying to win a punching match against Deadpool, because to him, you'll seem like you're stuck in a vat of molasses, moving at impossibly slow speeds. On top of his enhanced or superhuman abilities, though, Deadpool is also a master martial artist and champion hand-to-hand combatant. Remember what we just said about getting into a punching match with him? Yeah, that would be a terrible idea, given the fact he's a master of several martial arts and will likely kill you with your own punches, while making a terrible joke about hitting yourself. So how are you going to take Deadpool down, seeing as he's superhumanly fast and can probably kill you with your own pinky? First, you're going to have to use your brain. Deadpool's healing abilities keep his brain in a constant flux, and while that makes him difficult to affect telepathically, it also makes Deadpool extremely emotionally unstable. Not only is he very emotionally unstable, but he has some serious psychological buttons that you can push to make him fly off the handle, or maybe just break down crying. For one, there's the fact that Deadpool is completely aware of the fact that he is a fictional character that lives in comics and movies. Because of its severely affected mental state, Deadpool is one of the few characters that has realized what the true nature of his reality is. So go ahead and remind him of the fact that he's just a fictional character, while you yourself are a living, breathing person that's free to make their own decisions. While all of Deadpool's choices are nothing more than the whims of a writer. Deadpool's probably come to terms with that fact by now, but luckily, he's got two more sore spots that you could slam him on to push him into an existential crisis. First, remind him of his dead father and how there was nothing he could have done to save him. Even if he could have done anything though, the writer that controls his fate would have prevented him. Then remind him of his last girlfriend and the fact that the love he feels for her is fake, while the love you can experience in your own life is real and comes from free will. That should push Deadpool over the edge and into a full-blown existential crisis. And if it doesn't, then feel free to remind him that he has no real friends either, because every other hero thinks he's annoying. Remember, Deadpool may be a swaggering badass with superhuman abilities, but he also has the psychology of a child. So now that you've turned Deadpool into a sobbing mess, what's next? Well, given Deadpool's unpredictability, you're gonna have to act fast because this little mental breakdown isn't going to last long. Deadpool is famously highly resistant to foreign chemicals, but not completely immune given he is able to get drunk, even if he has to drink enough alcohol to kill a small whale. While Deadpool is busy coping with his dawning existential crisis, you're going to act and act fast by injecting him with 10 milligrams of carfentanil, the most powerful commercial opioid in the world. A dose that's just a fraction of the weight of a paperclip could kill 500 humans, and it takes 10 milligrams to sedate or outright kill an African bull elephant. That's going to be powerful enough to give Deadpool a very sudden and very deep nap. But with his powerful healing factor, you're going to have to act very fast, because there's just not much time before his body breaks down the toxin and he recovers. You're going to have to transport Deadpool to get to your next destination, and there's only going to be one way to do that successfully. You're going to have to take off his head. Don't worry, it comes off from time to time, so it's really nothing new. Deadpool's genetics have been so severely affected by the Weapon X experiments that it's believed his DNA itself maintains a sort of personality log that's constantly being updated. This means that Deadpool in essence can regenerate from any part of his body if the rest is lost, similar to some species of flatworms. While two Deadpools won't be formed, one part of his body can begin to grow the missing parts. So given enough time, Deadpool's head will literally regrow its body back or vice versa. So you gotta find a way to destroy both at the same time. Yet how do you destroy a body that heals almost instantly? First, you'll have to slow down that healing factor by a considerable amount, at least long enough to prevent Deadpool's regeneration from outpacing the damage being done to his body. At a temperature of negative 320 degrees Fahrenheit, liquid nitrogen is the go-to cryo-coolant for freezing of dead bodies by people who hope that science can resurrect them in the future. For us though, we're not going to use the liquid in an attempt to cheat death, but rather to try and bring death. By freezing Deadpool's body and head, you'll slow down molecular activity to an absolute crawl, severely slowing down Deadpool's regenerative abilities. Next, and we've talked about this chemical before because it's one of our favorites, you're going to introduce Deadpool's frozen remains to fluoroantimonic acid. This acid is so powerful that it's 20 quintillion times more powerful than sulfuric acid and will dissolve nearly all organic matter into a molecule-rich goo. Even though the act of breaking molecular bonds releases a great deal of heat, which will unfreeze Deadpool and free up his healing factor, by the time his healing factor kicks in at full force, it'll be far too late. And all that will be left of Deadpool is a pool of dead molecules. See what we did there? Deadpool is a formidable opponent that's a master of all manner of blades and hand-to-hand fighting techniques. But luckily for you, he also has the psychology of an 8-year-old, proving that mind really does trump matter, and that fluoroantimonic acid trumps almost all matter by dissolving it. It's sad to say, but Deadpool may just be one of the easiest opponents we've ever pitted you up against.